is the difference between IBS-C and IBS-D, and how do you know if you have it? What are some ways that you can make your quality of life a little bit better while living with these conditions? So IBS stands for irritable bowel syndrome, and the C in IBS-C stands for constipation. The D in IBS-D stands for diarrhea. And yes, you can have one or both of them. I've personally had both of them. So when I first got diagnosed with IBS, I first started with IBS-C, and now I have IBS-D. And I also have Crohn's disease, so having both of those is not really fun. I think that this diagnosis has become a lot more common, unfortunately, because doctors will slap this diagnosis on you when they don't know what else is wrong with you and when they have ruled everything else out. For example, if they have tested you for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and they came to the conclusion that you indeed do not have those autoimmune disorders, they will slap IBS on you, but then you're like, okay, what do I do now? IBS often affects the large intestines and can include a variety of symptoms. Cramping, bloating, abdominal pain, gas, and changes in bowel movements are the most common symptoms that people report. So if you have any of those, listen up, because this is kind of important and it's not fun to live in discomfort every day. I know I've been there. When you are dealing with IBS-D, you might feel this urgency and frequency to use the restroom, as well as abdominal pain and cramping. No matter which one you have, staying hydrated is incredibly important, and I like drinking those liquid IV packets for some extra electrolytes. On the other hand, IBS-C might be hard for you to pass stools. You might go to the bathroom pretty infrequently, and you're going to deal with a lot more bloating. Peppermint oil is really beneficial to those with IBS-D because it helps keep your intestines from cramping, and so you might notice a little bit of relief in that area. However, if you're going to get peppermint oil capsules, make sure they are specially coated so that they don't give you heartburn. I'll put 2 strains of probiotics here on the screen for you that are particularly beneficial for someone with IBS-D. You'll also want to include more soluble fiber in your diet, such as psyllium husk. That's my personal favorite, because what it's going to do is it's going to bulk up the stools in your intestine to make it easier for you to pass without it being super watery. Always start slow though when you're adding in soluble fiber. You don't ever want to take too much, and then you have a whole other problem on your hands. For IBS-C, yes, it's really important to stay hydrated, but I would also say that I have found it particularly beneficial to add some type of magnesium in. And magnesium is really great because it allows your stools to pass through a little more easily, but just be careful, because if you take too much, you're going to get more bloating, more gas, and more intestinal cramping. Ginger and fennel are also really great to add in for IBS-C because it's going to help with that pain and bloating in your stomach. And overall, those two are really going to help your digestion. So if you have problems digesting any types of foods, add in ginger and fennel before you eat, and I think you'll notice a huge difference. When I had IBS-C, I would eat a chia seed pudding every single morning for breakfast with some fruit in it, and chia seeds are really great because it's another form of soluble fiber and helps to bulk up those stools in your intestine, but it also helps to kind of like push things out of your body. No matter if you have IBS-C or IBS-D, it's so important to keep a food diary of your trigger foods. And common trigger foods for people include dairy and high FODMAP foods such as garlic and onion. Beans and other kinds of vegetables are also really dangerous, I would say, if you're dealing with IBS, because it can knock you out for the whole day. Stress can absolutely make IBS worse, and so make sure you are putting in mindful practices into your daily routine, whether that is meditation, yoga, or going for walks in the evening. As with anything, you want to make sure that you are getting enough sleep and sleeping in good conditions, so I always recommend getting a sound machine. A sound machine changed my life because I was constantly hearing like my intestines cramping, so I really like having a sound machine, noise machine, having blackout curtains, and just having a nice, comfortable, cool place to sleep. I would say for me personally, eating smaller, more frequent meals is a lot better, or even just snacking little bits throughout the day. I find that it's easier on my digestion. And some people really enjoy intermittent fasting when they have IBS, so you can look into that and try it. Intermittent fasting is when you don't eat for a certain period of time. A lot of people will do like 8 hours on, so they'll eat for 8 hours, and then the whole rest of that 24 hours, which would be 16 hours, they don't eat and allow their stomach to digest and rest. I will say intermittent fasting has worked well for me to a point. I can't go more than 12 hours without eating, or I have some issues, so just make sure you know your body and test it out. And I would start slowly at first. So if you notice that you are eating for the greater part of the 24 hours, just start slowly cutting back That way you truly give your digestive system time to process, but also to rest as well. If you have IBS-C or IBS-D, let me know in the comments. Let me know what tips and tricks have worked for you, as well as any natural remedies that you've tried that you particularly enjoy. And if you just need someone to vent to, just talk to me on this video. I know how frustrating it could be to have IBS, and you might suspect you have something more, and if you do, please advocate for yourself, because they had told me I had IBS and acid reflux, when in reality I also had Crohn's. Yes, I had those too, but I knew something deeper was going on. And then 4.5 years later, constantly advocating for myself, constantly getting colonoscopies, I finally got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Remember, we are all botanical queens, and I'll see you soon in the next video.